Hey everybody, this is Geneva of Geneva's Closet Talk Show. Please make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to Geneva's Closet if you haven't already done so right here on YouTube. And you can follow me on Facebook at Geneva's Closet. And you can email me at genevascloset22@gmail.com. Now, let's get into the news. This is coming from ladieswantmore.com, and it is dated for May of 2019, and it says, a Wayne County Family Court judge is being accused of helping her son cover up abuse of her grandson, but she says none of it is true. Tracy Green is a judge at the Wayne County Family Court. Her job is to determine whether children are being abused and to protect them. Her grandson said she's not only ignored how her son, who is his father, beat his kids, he says she covered it up. My dad would tell her about a bruise I had or something, and she'd put makeup on it because we had to go to school and stuff, and she didn't want people to see it, her grandson said. The young boy who Fox 2 is not naming says Green would put the makeup on him in her upstairs bathroom. Green denies the allegations entirely. I didn't put makeup on any bruises, conceal any abuse. That is utterly preposterous, Green said. It just didn't happen. Green, an experienced family court lawyer, was running for judge last summer when a disturbance at her son's home prompted neighbors to call 911. The following is a portion of the 911 call made last summer. He was beating his kids and I'm talking about he's been beating them for 45 minutes. And this is beyond a whooping. He was over there screaming and telling them how he blacked their mama's eyes. He would kill everybody, the caller said. A second caller said the ruckus interrupted her slumber, woke me up out of my sleep. He was beating these kids so bad. When Detroit police and child protective services workers arrived, they found a house in chaos. Green's son, Gary Davis Head, admitted that he hit his then 8 and 10-year-old sons with the belt. The beating was so severe, CPS removed the boys and 3 other children from Davis Head's home. Over the next few months, the boys and their siblings told child welfare workers and testified in court that their dad turned their cramped home into a house of horrors. Both boys spoke with Fox 2 with their mom present. The younger boy, who is now 9, described what life was like in his dad's home. It was bad and difficult. We weren't getting fed right and stuff, and we got beat. In interviews with child welfare workers, and on the witness stand, the boys and their siblings described how their father ordered the boys to strip down to their shorts, kneel down, then stick their face in a pillow to muffle their cries as he whipped them with a belt. The children and their stepmother also told investigators and testified that their father once choked out their stepmother until she passed out. The children said they thought she was dead until their father splashed water on her face. Davis Head denied beating his wife, but acknowledged what he calls spanking the boys and even his young daughter with a belt. He denied abusing them, however, and explained that he was administering appropriate discipline. In March, after deliberating for less than an hour, a Wayne County Family Court jury found him guilty of neglect and said he put them at substantial risk of harm to their mental well-being and was unfit to care for them. The judge said he found Davis Head's testimony to be appalling and that Davis Head demonstrated a complete and utter inability to understand parenting at all. The judge concluded that by clear and convincing evidence, Davis Head abused the children, and there is a reasonable likelihood that the children will be harmed if returned to him. Green, who became a judge in the same courthouse earlier this year, doesn't agree. Obviously, I love him. He's my son, and he's a decent person. He's certainly not without his challenges, and beyond that, I can't really get into a lot of opinions because there's open litigation. Because she's a judge, Green is bound by rules that prevent her from speaking as freely as she would like. She can, however, address matters that came up in court. That's good because the investigation into her son raises questions about what she knew And when her eldest grandson not only testified that Green used makeup to hide his bruises, he testified that he had been telling her since 2016. And this is what the grandson said. Like almost every time I saw her, I told her about the time he choked her, meaning his stepmom. I told her about the times he beat us that I remember. I don't remember too much. I told her about almost everything. Later on in his testimony, he says nobody ever tried to help him, including her. She never helped us, he said. Green said it was painful to hear her grandson say that, but added it's not true. It's not truthful at all, Green said. I have some opinions, but it wouldn't be appropriate for me to give them to you because of pending litigation. Her oldest grandson initially told child workers that his stepmother put makeup on his face to cover up his bruises. When Fox 2 asked him to clear up the contradiction in what he told workers before, when he testified, he said his stepmother and grandmother used makeup to conceal his injuries. Davis' head attorney tried arguing in court that the boys were not truthful and had been coached by their mother, Chori Bressler, if I'm saying that correctly, who does not get along with their father or Judge Green. The eldest grandson testified, nobody told me what to say. All my mom said was, just tell the truth. A child worker reported that Green told her she once heard her son yelling at one of her grandsons, heard a slapping sound, and saw a handprint on the boy's face that would suggest that she had some awareness that her grandkids were being hit. It certainly would suggest, but regarding the comments that are attributed to me, I never said that, not even anything close to that, Green said. Green was called as a witness in her son's custody case. When asked about the report, she acknowledged seeing a handprint on her grandson's face and denied the rest. When the prosecutor asked Judge Green if she remembered telling a child worker that she had spoken with her son about how he disciplined the children, she said, I don't specifically remember that, but I don't dispute it. She also testified that the children told her they were spanked, but she never asked what that meant. The possibility that a judge may have lied under oath is the kind of thing that might interest the Judicial Tenor Commission, if I'm saying that correctly, which policies judges. She has an obligation to tell the truth. If there's any issues with regard to her not telling the truth, the Judicial Tenor Commission is going to be very interested in that. Currently, only her grandson is accusing Green of a cover-up, but the case against her son raises concerns because it transcends one family's tragic story. Green says the people of Wayne County can count on her to protect their kids. I am certainly capable of protecting children from my perch as a Third Circuit Court judge. There's nothing that I have done or would ever do that would jeopardize the safety of any child, particularly a child that I love. And what I'm saying to you, Mr. Elric, is that I've done nothing wrong. I've not failed to do something that I should have done, and that's the bottom line. As for Davis Head, he's got more legal problems as he's facing criminal charges of child abuse and domestic violence. He pleaded not guilty to those charges and is scheduled to go on trial next month.
Family Court Judge Tracy Green testified that she did not believe her son abused her grandchildren. The judge has been taken off all abuse and neglect cases until further notice.
If you, a family court judge, can't protect your own grandkids, can the people of Wayne County count on you to protect our kids?
I am certainly capable of protecting children from my perch as a Third Circuit Court judge. There is nothing that I have done or would ever do to jeopardize the safety of any child, particularly a child that I love. And what I'm saying to you, Mr. Elric, is that I've done nothing wrong. I've not failed to do something that I should have done, and that's the bottom line.
That's Judge Tracy Green addressing concerns that arose after her grandson testified that she helped hide evidence that his father, Green's son, had beaten him.
My dad would tell her about a bruise that I had or something, and she'd put makeup on it because we had to go to school and stuff. She didn't want people to see.
I didn't put makeup on any bruises to conceal any abuse. That is utterly preposterous.
So he made it up.
It just didn't happen.
After Wayne County Circuit Court Chief Judge Timothy Kenny watched my report, he reviewed a transcript of the trial at which Judge Green and her grandson testified. Then he told Judge Green she would not handle any abuse and neglect cases until after her son's legal problems are resolved. Judge Green's son, Gary Davis Head, is waiting to hear whether his parental rights will be terminated in the very court where Green works. He's also awaiting separate trials in Wayne County Circuit Court on child abuse and domestic violence charges. Those cases stem from a disturbance at his house last summer when neighbors called police.
And he was beating his kids, like, I'm talking about, he been beating them for like 45 minutes, and this is like beyond a whooping. Then he was over there screaming, telling them how he just blacked their mama eyes, and he had killed everybody.
Detroit Police and Child Protective Services removed Green's 5 children from her son's home. They are now living with their birth mothers. 2 of the boys, who are now 9 and 11, testified that Davis Head beat them and once choked their stepmother until she passed out. Davis Head testified that he disciplined his children but denied beating his wife and kids. The judge in that case didn't believe him. Judge Green couldn't discuss the matter in detail because judicial rules forbid her from speaking as freely as she would like. She declined comment on this latest development. Judge Kenny tells me Judge Green will handle delinquency and other matters, and that when he spoke to her, the judge was okay with his decision. Kenny says he took this action to allay any concerns the public may have that abuse and neglect cases will be handled fairly. At Wayne County Family Court, M.L. Elric, Fox 2 News.
Here's the update to this story dated for September 28th, 2019. This is coming from Fox 2 Detroit, and it says, Davis Head lost custody of his children. He was convicted of abusing his wife and then went on trial for allegedly abusing his children. The Detroit police officer who responded to a 911 call in the summer of 2018 recalled a chaotic scene. When you arrived at the location, did anything alarm you? Said the prosecutor. Officer Adams said, I could hear clearly an adult male screaming at some children, telling them that she doesn't love you. I'm the only one here for you. I'm the only one that cares for you. Davis Head was apparently referring to the 8 and 10-year-old boy's mother, who was his ex-wife. He admitted hitting his sons with a belt. The boys were covered in bruises, prompting child protective workers to remove the boys and Davis Head other 3 children from the home. Both boys testified to being tied up with suit ties and then beaten. Tink told the judge, I think that this clearly rises to the level of cruelty for child abuse in the 2nd degree. Judge Green did not testify for her son, but his attorney argued that there was not enough evidence to convict Davis Head of more than disciplining his children. This case is remarkable from the standpoint of how little proof there are. Corporal punishment, by its very design, is the infliction of pain. It carries with it. Now, whether or not he exceeded his parental authority is a tough question. The law is pretty vague at what that means. Then the other attorney said, this is a kind of beating that they were getting, and we combine that with the fact that they were being tied up in the past, and you've got 2 little boys being tied up and beaten by their father, and that is not discipline. In June, Judge Cusick found Davis Head guilty of misdemeanor domestic violence and not guilty on a more serious charge of assault with intent to commit great bodily harm after he was charged with assaulting his most recent wife. David Head again put his fate in Judge Cusick's hands on the child abuse charges. Things did not work out well this time. This is what Judge Cusick had to say. A continuous beating that lasts 45 minutes with a whip or a belt, after asking the children to take off their clothes, where the children are screaming, have bruises all over their body, where a neighbor has to call 911, where the testimony was the beatings happened frequently and for years, including them being tied up. Yes, this court believes that is harsh, that is severe, that is brutal. Davis Head faces up to 10 years in prison on the child abuse charges. He is scheduled to be sentenced on October 16th.
Gary Davis Head has lost custody of his children, is awaiting sentence on a domestic violence charge, and today was convicted on 2 felony counts of child abuse.
And find the defendant guilty of child abuse in the 2nd degree.
Gary Davis Head is led away to jail 5 months after his children told me that he beat them and that his mother, Wayne County Family Court Judge Tracy Green, helped cover up that abuse.
My dad would tell her about a bruise that I had or something, and she'd put makeup on it because we had to go to school and stuff. She didn't want people to see.
Okay, where did she get the makeup?
It was in her house, in the upstairs, her bathroom upstairs. She had makeup in there, and I would go up to the bathroom in there, and then she'd put it on me.
Judge Green testified in family court, the same courthouse where she heard abuse and neglect cases, that her grandsons were lying.
I didn't put makeup on any bruises to conceal any abuse. That is utterly preposterous.
So he made
It just
it up.
didn't happen.
After my story broke, Wayne County's Chief Judge Tim Kenny decided Judge Green would not hear abuse and neglect cases until further notice. In the meantime, Davis had lost custody of his children, he was convicted of abusing his wife, and then went on trial for allegedly abusing his children. The Detroit police officer who responded to a 911 call in the summer of 2018 recalled a chaotic scene at Davis Head's home.
Detroit 911, and he was beating his kids like, I'm talking about he's been beating them for like 45 minutes, and this is like beyond a whooping.
When you arrived at that location, did anything alarm you?
I could hear clearly an adult male screaming at some children, telling them that she doesn't love you, I'm the only one here for you, I'm the only one that cares for you.
Davis Head was apparently referring to the 8 and 10-year-old boy's mother, who was his first wife and is now one of his ex-wives. He admitted hitting his sons with a belt. The boys were covered in bruises, prompting Child Protective Service workers to remove the boys and Davis Head's other 3 children from the home.
Both boys testified to being tied up with suit ties and then beaten. I think that clearly rises to the level of cruelty for child abuse in the second degree.
Judge Green did not testify for her son this time, but his attorney argued that there was not enough evidence to convict Davis Head of more than disciplining his children.
This case is remarkable from the standpoint of how little proofs there are. Corporal punishment, by its very design, is the infliction of pain, okay? It carries with it that. Now, whether or not he exceeded his parental authority is a tough question, okay? Because, you know, the law is pretty vague as far as what that means. Okay.
This is the kind of beatings that they were getting, and we combine that with the fact that they were being tied up in the past, and you've got 2 little boys being tied up and beaten by their father, and that is not discipline.
In June, Judge Cusick found Davis Head guilty of misdemeanor domestic violence and not guilty on a more serious charge of assault with intent to commit great bodily harm after Davis Head was charged with assaulting his most recent wife. Davis Head again put his fate in Judge Cusick's hands on the child abuse charges. This time, things did not work out so well.
A continuous beating that lasts 45 minutes with a whip or a belt after asking the children to take off their clothes, where the children are screaming, have bruises all over their bodies, where a neighbor has to call 911, where the testimony was that the beatings happened frequently and for years, including them being tied up. Yes, this court believes that is harsh, that is severe, and that is brutal.
Davis Head faces up to 10 years in prison on the child abuse charges. He is scheduled to be sentenced on October 16th. I called Judge Green for comment, but she has not responded to my messages.
So where is Judge Green working now?
So after we first revealed this issue of whether she may or may not have covered up some abuse, the chief judge in the circuit court took her off of abuse and neglect cases. She was just hearing delinquency cases, but now she's been moved over to the criminal court. So today, she and her son may have gone to the same place. She's going home. He's going to jail.
So, who do you believe? Do you believe the grandsons, the sons, or do you believe Davis and his mother, Judge Green? I think I believe the grandsons. I think I believe them. I don't know what was going on in the mother life. I know she, you know, your kids are grown. You want to focus on your career and do your own thing, and then your kids do something stupid to pull you back. But did she know that her son was abusive, that her son was, you know, a hothead, get mad fast? Most likely she did. I mean, that's your son. You know how your kids are, because majority of the time, whatever way your children are as an adult, they was like that as a child. It didn't do nothing but manifest over time. It probably just got worse over time. So if he was a hothead when he was young and got angry fast, then okay, he was like that as an adult, and I know that she knew that. I bet she was pissed that she trying to run for judge And he's sitting up here messing up her career, and now they done got her booted off the child protective thing. They don't even want her on that. But should she even be on there? Her grandson said that she was putting makeup on him, covering up the bruises. She even admitted to seeing a bruise on his face or knowing that her son hit one of the grandkids. But then again, when I was being nosy, because y'all know I'm nosy, and I found her Facebook page and everything, and I was going through the pictures, I even seen a picture where she was saying something about disciplining her grandson, how she hated to discipline her grandson, and she just had him sitting in the corner. So, you hate to look at it and be like, oh, she knew, or he's a woman beater, or he be beating on his kids. But I believe it. Just some of the pictures that he took and some of his movements from the video, his face expression, like, he's a woman beater. But anyway, people, how do you feel about this case? Do you think that this didn't happen? Are you looking at the mother of the children being like she looked like she may be of the Caucasian descent? So we don't know if she's saying this because she's mad at him. He a black man, white woman trying to bring the black man down. Do you think that got something to do with it? Because I know I'm probably going to get some comments on that. Or you like, oh, hell no. He abused them children. He needs to be sent to jail. And he a woman beater because he beat up on his wife or whatever too. And then I found some pictures. I don't necessarily know if that's the wife or not. I think that it's the children's mother. I don't know if it's the children's mother and ex-wife. I don't know. But I also found Davis' father page, because the father and Judge Green is still together. And I see people are over on his Facebook page saying things that's pissing him off. So he went into this whole rant thing on Facebook, basically saying 2019 is a bust. It didn't go the way he wanted it to go. And he don't want people to come on his page talking about his wife. His wife would never do anything like that. So I would like to know how you all feel about this situation, and while you are letting me know, could you please like and share this video and subscribe to Genevas Closet if you haven't already done so right here on YouTube. And you can follow me on Facebook at Genevas Closet, and you can email me at genevascloset22@gmail.com. You all have a fabulous day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.